Hello, nerds. Welcome back to the Brief Nerdity podcast. My name is Trent, and I will be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is Ryan.
Hey,
How's it going?
going well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And also returning to chat with us tonight is TJ. How's it going?
I got a belly full of Little Caesars, so I'm ready to go.
Pizza.
I had leftover
Is that
onion dip
trademarked?
and
Did I just
mini.
did I just trademark us?
Oh,
We're gonna get taken down.
don't sue us.
Free advertising. So welcome to the podcast. Is everybody having a wonderful evening?
Yeah, I had leftover onion dip and mini sausages for dinner from Super Bowl party yesterday.
That sounds.
Or sorry, I can't say that. Dang it.
We're off to a great start. That sounds really super unhealthy.
The superb owl day.
Yeah, the superb owl. Did you? Oh yeah. So I had Arby's. So yeah.
Healthy all around.
All right.
Now that we've all pitched our fast food of choice, I hear that you two would like to talk about some reactions to Resident Evil 7.
Yes, we would. Both TJ and I finished Resident Evil 7 this week, and we would like to have a semi-thorough. We don't want to spend too much time since poor Trent doesn't play scary games.
I'm going to be sipping lemonade over here.
But yeah, we're just going to take a little bit to kind of talk about it. We're going to give you full warning here. We're going to go full spoilers for Resident Evil 7. So if you plan on playing it, definitely skip this portion of the podcast. But if you don't care about spoilers, feel free to listen in. It's only going to be like 5-10 minutes. So just hit that skip 30-second button on your podcast and until we're done talking about that and talking about something else like Nintendo Switch or something. So with that being said, here we go. Resident Evil 7 spoilers. So TJ, go ahead and just start us off by giving us your few sentence review of the game.
Okay, yeah. I was really looking forward to the game. Overall, I wouldn't say I was disappointed with it. Well, I guess I'll just jump right to it. The first 2/3 of the game I thought were just fantastic. Loved every single second of it. Thought it was taking the series in a totally different direction. And then the final third takes it right back to the craziness that all the other Resident Evils end with. And it was a step backwards for me. If I had to score the game, I'd probably give it a solid 7. No pun intended. But if I only had to rate it on the first 60% of the game, I'd probably give it like a 9.5. Because I really enjoyed it.
Nice. See, I'm really close to you on that boat. Like the first 2/3 again were absolute phenomenal, pretty much perfect classic Resident Evil just in the first person perspective. And actually before the game came out, I was more like cautiously optimistic. Like for the initial stuff they showed, I'm like, oh, it doesn't really look like Resident Evil. And even though I love games like Outlast, like I don't really want Outlast in my Resident Evil. But it ended up being just like pure Resident Evil through and through, which I absolutely loved. And even though I kind of love and embrace some of the Resident Evil silliness, I think it's kind of just a staple of it, I guess, going all the way from Resident Evil 1 all the way through 6, which I like I said earlier. So I didn't really quite mind the silliness kind of at the end. I just thought that the step back that it did take was not a good one. Like, at the very end, you just kind of you start playing as another character kind of out of nowhere, and then like you don't have anything in your inventory again, and so you kind of have to play through like a quick 2-hour version of the game you've played already in
a totally different environment.
Yeah, and so it's just like at that point, like I just kind of, I think I audibly let out a sigh, like I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be playing as this character. And I was still pretty pissed off about what had happened right before that. Could talk about that a little bit, but yeah, just the whole boat stuff at the end, just it wasn't well done. It was silly, and their attempt at kind of telling the backstory of what was going on, it like I kind of had to go online and kind of read like a timeline, like, okay, what happened, what was Mia doing, and okay, who's this guy that like is hurt on the boat? Like it didn't make any sense. And
so are there any returning characters?
One single returning character.
Well, we think.
It's either Chris or
antagonist.
Heck, it could be either. So
Well, here's the thing. So just anyone that's listening that maybe hasn't played it, or well, Trent, I know you haven't played it, so you're probably wondering, like, what we're talking about. So the first 2/3 of the game, you're in this really creepy house, pretty much in vein of like the original Resident Evil. You go to a smaller house in a swamp, which is even crazier, and you're kind of going back and forth between the two. It really gives off a very strong Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe, which is awesome. And then, like Ryan was saying, the game totally shifts in tone and everything. You become a different character, and then you spend almost the rest of the game on a crashed ocean liner.
You're on a boat.
Yes, you are on a boat. And the thing that I thought, when you first approached the boat, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the ship from Resident Evil Revelations, the game
That's
that
what I
came
thought
out,
too.
not that many years ago. I'm like, okay, this is why it's Resident Evil 7. This is how it's tying in. I don't remember what happened to that ship in that game, so maybe that wouldn't make sense. I'm sure there's like a super fan going, "That's not possible! That boat blew up." Or
fun
something.
fact, it's actually a ship from Resident Evil Gaiden for the Game Boy Color.
That's impossible.
Good old Barry. But yeah, so then you're on the ship, and you kind of lose the same fear that you had throughout the whole first 2/3 of the game, because while you're in this house, you never know what's going to happen. This Baker family, like the dad and the mom and the son, like they're constantly after you. Like you never know. You could turn a corner and they could be there, and it's just terrifying. Like you're slowly maneuvering around this house. Then you get on the ship, you're far away from them. You already fought them all a few times. There's no major boss enemies or anything. It's just the standard enemies. I like to call it the NES ice hockey team of enemies, because it's the same enemy, but there is the skinny, the medium, and the fat versions.
Yep.
And so like, and by then you're used to fighting them. They have all the same attacks and stuff, and it's just like Ryan mentioned, the fear level just drops quite a bit at that point.
So what would you rate it, Ryan?
Probably an 8, a little bit more than TJ gave it. But again, same thing. Like if it was just the first 2/3, it would have been like a 9.5 for me.
Yeah, you guys are right in line. I went up, and because I had no idea, looked up a bunch of rating sites for it. IGN gave it a 7.7. The Metacritic critic score is 86. User score 7.6. So it seems like everybody's having kind of good-ish reviews for it.
Well, one thing we haven't mentioned is VR. So, Ryan, I know you didn't play in VR. I did not play in VR. I have some friends that played in VR, and they swear by it. They swear by the experience. I mentioned before when I was on the show, I got to play the demo in VR, and it really is like a very unique experience. I've never played a game and felt that way. It really felt very new, and you really do feel like you're in that house. So I can imagine the experience overall would be much better in VR, but that doesn't change where the game goes, like in the setting, the story of the game, because it ends up being like a ghost girl, kind of, or not necessarily a ghost girl, but she's this girl that's infecting this family and taking them over. And
magic powers, and
yeah. So I'm sure VR does help, but VR wouldn't fix, the story side of things, and that's what kind of let me down the most.
I'll probably end up rebuying this game on PlayStation VR, or making sure I play it again if it ever comes out on VR for PC and I get a VR headset. But yeah, because it's such a great game, and everyone has said like this is the VR game. This is like finally the AAA mainstream good gaming experience you get with a VR headset, and I'd be very excited to play it.
Yeah.
So with the first-person stuff, did it still feel like Resident Evil to you?
It was exactly like classic Resident Evil. I mean, almost exactly. I mean, you wouldn't think so at the first-person perspective, but the entire like game design is exactly like the first 3 Resident Evil games, especially the first one.
And it really was for the better. Like it was a change for the better. Not necessarily saying that first person is always better than third person, because I think the third person Resident Evil games are fantastic, for their own reasons. But when you're first person and exploring like tight hallways and stuff like that, you genuinely are afraid to turn around, like ever, because you never know what's going to be there. So you can't really see what's coming towards you unless it's in front of you. So.
And you have the ability to open every door just like a crack at first to kind of peek through, and then open it either all the way or open it slowly from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's a couple more things I want to talk about. One is with the multiple endings. I kind of want to call BS on it. So about at that 2/3 mark through the game, you're dealing with two women who are infected, and you create a cure, and you have two syringes with them, and you're going to cure both of them, but then you fight a boss, and you end up like injecting the boss with one of them to kind of kill the boss thing, and then you only have one, and so you have a choice. You have your wife Mia. You could cure her, or you could cure the daughter of the family who's been helping you this whole time. Now, up to that point, like Mia had been kind of a bad person,
Yeah.
attacking you lots, and then you even eventually learn that she's like the cause of the whole thing. Like she's the reason like this family got infected and have like basically all the family died and things like that. While Zoe has been doing her best to like help you out the entire game and just be generally overall a good person. And so like I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I know Mia, you're technically my wife in the game, but you've been nothing but a pain, and Zoe's been nothing but helpful, so I'm going to go ahead and cure Zoe. And the game has two endings based on that choice, but it's complete BS because like if you pick Zoe, like what I did, she immediately dies like 5 minutes later, and then like Mia comes in anyways, but she's still infected, and because she's still infected, she ends up dying later on, and you get the bad ending where your character basically hates his life, and like the ending's like really really depressing. But if you choose your wife again, who was just a jerk up until that, the whole game pretty much just a jerk and the cause of everything bad that happens throughout everything, if you choose to save her, then it's the exact same thing, except she ends up living and everybody's happy at the end.
Yeah.
So like I was really mad. I was like, BS game. Zoe is the better choice, and you make it out to be like I'm the worst person ever for choosing her over my wife. I was mad.
Well, when you choose Zoe, though, you do get that extra boss fight with Mia towards the end. That does not happen if you save Mia. So there is one difference, but yeah, as far as like the overall ending, yeah, it is kind of a cop out.
And hooray, an extra boss fight when your health and ammo is limited. That's always needed.
I know who Borat would choose.
Oh yeah?
My wife? You've never seen Borat? Never mind.
Yeah, I haven't seen Borat. So the last thing I want to mention is that you asked if there were any
swine.
I've seen Borat. I love Borat.
Uh-huh.
My wife.
My wife.
Yep, I can
My
do
wife.
that. If any of you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's a really funny joke in this last week's episode about Borat. But anyways, so you asked if there's any returning characters, and that the answer is yes. So at the very end, there's this guy who looks nothing like Chris Redfield, who's been a main protagonist in many Resident Evil games.
Well, he kind of looks like Chris Redfield.
Yeah, and you just don't know because Chris Redfield looks different in every single game. So, and this guy pops down, and he's like, "I'm Redfield," and then like kind of just that's kind of the end of the game. And so I don't know if you remember like the indoctrination theory, Trent, from Mass Effect 3.
Yes,
there's kind of
I'm still kind of a believer in that theory, even though it doesn't make sense anymore.
And so there's kind of that going on right now where people think this is actually an Umbrella Corps mercenary named Hunk that made his first appearance in Resident Evil 2 for a lot of like reasons, kind of like picking and choosing from like frames of the animation and stuff like that, kind of like the indoctrination theory. So it's a current theory right now that it may be Hunk. And so this person rescuing you at the end has nefarious things in mind versus rescuing you like Chris Redfield, the protagonist of the main series, would be doing.
He a hunk?
He is a hunk.
He is. Because I know that Chris Redfield is a hunk.
Yep. Now, what do you think of all that, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, knowing how crazy the Resident Evil stories get, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a clone of Chris Redfield, or if Chris Redfield had a son that we didn't know about, because he says I'm Redfield, but in the credits at the end it says Chris Redfield.
Yeah, it does.
The voice actor. Yeah, I don't know, the ending, it didn't feel like a cliffhanger. It felt more unfinished. And then of course the credits roll, and after the credits you get a screen that shows that Redfield with free DLC coming out in spring, where I'm assuming you play as him. So they're basically telling you like, yeah, we're not telling you what this is until the free DLC comes out later this year.
Which is cool. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, hey, free DLC is great, but that actually leads me to another gripe that I had with the game was you beat it, and it unlocks Madhouse mode unless you had like a pre-order where you can unlock it right away. Basically, it makes the game a lot harder, puts items in random locations, all that stuff. Previous Resident Evil games have had that too. But what it doesn't do is unlock any bonus modes, because they put all the bonus like battle modes and stuff in paid DLC,
Oh, I didn't know that.
which they decided to release a week after the game came out for $9.99.
Blah.
So I was thinking back, I'm pretty sure this is the first Resident Evil that didn't have a bonus mode that you unlocked after you beat the game. Because I know you're familiar with like Mercenaries mode and stuff. I mean, Mercenaries mode was amazing.
Yeah.
I put more hours into Mercenaries mode than probably, the main games itself, like in 4 and 5. But yeah, this didn't have it, and you have to buy it. And I heard it's great. It comes with some other modes too. And focus more on like the cameraman in the game and stuff, so you get to play as him and do some neat stuff. But yeah, they put the bonus mode behind paid DLC, and then there's another $15 DLC pack that comes out, I believe, on Valentine's Day. So even shortly after that, and that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I remember the Resident Evil 5 battle mode that when you bought it, it was like a 14 kilobyte download. AKA, like you already owned it. It was just a small file to unlock it.
That's right.
That made people mad. And yeah, I haven't even got to play the cameraman stuff yet, since that's all PS4 exclusive, and I played on PC. So I'll have to see when it goes,
that's right.
like a month later. So okay, so we'll wrap up our Resident Evil 7 talk there. I feel we've kind of gone on long enough there. So
well, really quick, one last thing. I really did enjoy the game. I know I said like I gave it like a 7 out of 10, but to me that's still a game worth playing. It's an experience you're not going to get with most other horror games. I definitely enjoyed it. I do plan on playing through it again. But yeah, just wanted to get that out there. Didn't want it to be totally negative.
Yeah, it would have been contender for my 2016 Game of the Year if it would have released 1 month earlier. So that's how much I enjoyed it. All right.
Or is that just saying how much 2016 was?
Yeah. I mean, 2016 had a handful of great games, but outside of those, yeah, I agree. 2017 is going to be great.
There is so much just in March.
Yep.
It's going to be insane.
Yes.
Speaking of March, one of the things coming out in March, there's been some new Switch news since TJ was last with us, and since you are our resident Nintendo super fan.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil fan. Resident Nintendo super fan. Why don't you talk to us about some of the new Switch news that's come out recently?
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's funny because it releases in less than a month. Remember, we got the short month of February, so it's not even a full-blown month. And there are still a lot of questions that people have, especially when it comes to the online. Now, Nintendo, they did have what's the word I'm looking for? Not a conference, but with all the shareholders, like a shareholders meeting. And they did talk a little bit about the online, not necessarily how it's going to work, but the price. And they said the price is going to be between 2,000 and 3,000 yen, which is about 17 to 26 bucks a year. I'm guessing for the US side, probably, between $25 and $30 a year, which, as you know, is about half the cost of the competitors online. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What do you guys think about that? What do you think that means?
See, I really like that because I was kind of going off the assumption that if Nintendo was joining the paid to online, I just assumed that they would kind of do the $50 to $60 range, just to be like, oh, we could charge that much. Sure, we'll go ahead and do that sort of thing. But if it is like $25 to $30, I wouldn't say I'd be all in, but that would definitely be a lot easier for me to swallow. That's $3 a month, so to speak. And one thing they also kind of didn't mention, because we also mentioned before that they'd release either an NES or Super NES game for you to play for that month, and I was just like, whatever, because especially the fact that they made it so you lose the game. But they also have recently mentioned that like they're going to enhance the game in some ways, especially through the possibility of like online play. So theoretically, they could release Super Mario Kart for Super NES through the service, and guess what? It has online matchmaking. And I think that'd be way, way awesome. And it's better to do it for the month-to-month basis, because that way you have your entire community based on that one game, versus giving everyone a new game for them to keep every month and then that community being spread out between all those different games, especially if they've been. So, long story short, if that is the case and if that is the price, I might be all in on that.
It makes me wonder too, with the one game that you're given for that month. I wonder, because they also said another benefit of being a subscriber is discounts. So I wonder if maybe, let's say it's Mario Kart for Super Nintendo. That comes out the first month. Everyone's playing it online, like you said. It's got that community. Then when it's over, if you're a subscriber, you have the option to purchase it for 50% off or something going forward. Because a lot of people that talk about it, they make it sound like these games, like you have it for a month and then it's gone. I mean, we don't know. Maybe that is the case, but I do feel like it's up and then you have access to it for that month. And then afterwards, like, hey, now it's in the shop. You can buy it if you want and then play it, as much as you want. So We'll see. I wonder if maybe that's how they're going to handle it.
What do you think, Trent?
I'm hoping it'll be something like that. The price doesn't seem too bad. Do you think the fact that we still don't know a lot of these things for sure is just, they're Nintendo, or do you think that it's not going to be ready at launch?
I actually plan to talk about that, because there's so much speculation and a lot of negative speculation, and I feel that Nintendo is doing the wrong thing by being silent about a lot of things. Like, I think that they should be coming out and attacking or defending like any speculation that we're doing, because we're like, oh, well, how much is going to cost? What's it going to be? We're still like, oh, I don't know, and yeah, it comes out in like 25 days from now.
Yeah, if you're not doing the talking, you're not controlling the narrative, and so
exactly,
it can only go badly for you.
Yeah,
especially if there's a lot of questions. So I think, like you said, they need to start giving some kind of information. I mean, they've got to know at least what's going to be available at launch, because they can't possibly still be making those decisions. I hope.
Well, and we know, I know one game off the bat that says it has online is Bomberman, Super Bomberman R. Yep. It says they're advertising that as online, so I would assume that being a launch game, it's probably going to have online day one. I would hope, I would think, but yeah, we don't even know that for sure. But I think, like you said, Trent, this is Nintendo that we're talking about. They do like to do things in a kind of stubborn way sometimes, and who knows? Even with their previous Nintendo Directs, they'll just come up out of nowhere. One day they'll be like, hey, 2 days from now, Nintendo Direct. It's going to be all about this. So maybe they'll have a Direct or something beforehand. They still have some time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll learn something mid-February-ish, about something a little more concrete.
Yeah, I think we will.
Either way, I have my pre-order, and apparently not very many people do. There was news this week of both GameStop and Target canceling pre-orders on people because they had overbooked their pre-orders.
Supposedly GameStop debunked that, though.
Oh yeah? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was later in the day.
Interesting.
I've seen them popping up. I think Best Buy had them pop up a couple days ago, and they were up for a little while. I mean, they went fairly quickly, but yeah, they did come back up.
I'm debating on actually selling mine after I beat Breath of the Wild, just to get that extra cash and then buy one again before Mario Odyssey comes out.
Well, I got to say, I mean, I know I'm probably by a lot of people's definition a Nintendo fanboy, but that's fine if that's what people want to call me. But I'm genuinely excited for this system. Like, I really am. I mean, I was excited for the Wii. I was excited for the Wii U, but this is like a whole different feeling that I probably haven't had since like the GameCube days. I'm really looking forward to it. I really like, where they're taking it. It really is different enough to stand out, from the competitors, but we'll see. I want it to do well. I want it to do well so bad.
And I agree 100%. Like, I see so much potential in this, everything from the indie titles and games like Shovel Knight to, the Zelda Breath of the Wild experiences. If they could just capture that entire market in both the portable and the hardcore home console, this will be a device I could see myself taking everywhere and be like my primary Netflix watching device, on the go and so on and so forth. So yeah, Nintendo really has an opportunity here to blow this market up.
Yeah, and the big focus on local multiplayer. I mean, we haven't had a focus on local multiplayer in, I don't know how long. I mean, it's very rare that a popular or really fun, local multiplayer game comes out, for Xbox One or PS4. So We'll see. I really hope that comes back because there's nothing better than getting together with a group of friends and playing. I mean, online's great and all, but nothing beats all being in the same room.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of the same way. I haven't purchased a Nintendo console since the GameCube, and so I'm very excited about this one. So I'm
It's great. Yeah,
expecting good things.
yeah, and once again, we will find out very soon.
Did you
I
guys
know
see the?
some, I was gonna say I know some people who aren't very happy about the Switch right now.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Why?
The Falcons.
I
Did you guys see that article?
did, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and explain that one.
Well, Ryan, go ahead. You know it better than I do.
Okay, so yeah, Kotaku released an article. It was pretty funny that they showed a trend to where, obviously for the first half of the Super Bowl, the Falcons were dominating the Patriots there. Sports talk on a podcast here. But the funny thing is that the moment the Nintendo Switch commercial happened, everything quote unquote switched in the game because the Eagles were up by a significant margin and they had possession of the ball. But right after that, like they lost possession and then like the Patriots just came back and spoiler alert, won the game. So it was the Nintendo Switch controller that switched everything around. So a fun bit of thing for the Super Bowl there.
And
This
it was fun.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go on, Trent.
Well, mine's actually kind of a side note, so go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, yeah, I got together with some family to watch the Super Bowl, and the Nintendo commercial airing was the most exciting thing for me. Like that's what I was waiting for. Even though it was a shortened version of a commercial I'd already watched online like a few times earlier, but just knowing that made me happy too. Knowing that Nintendo, was willing to, dish out the money to advertise this during the Super Bowl. I mean, I think they had a Pokemon commercial last year.
Yeah, for Pokemon Go.
Yeah, and that was really successful. And supposedly, like analysts said that there was a lot of really positive buzz around that Switch commercial this year. So the fact that they're stepping up and going that distance, that's a really good sign. I think they're pretty confident in what they're releasing.
I would have to just disagree with you about the most exciting moment for Super Bowl because for me that was the Stranger Things 2 trailer.
Oh, yep. That was probably a close second for me.
I was like, oh my god! Like while it was happening.
I'm glad I didn't watch it. Then I still need to see season 1.
Oh yes, don't watch it until you watch season 1.
I cannot recommend it enough, Trent. I was, I'd had so many people say like it was so good, and then like I had one person say it wasn't good and not watch it, and then like I watched the trailer and the trailer was just like, that doesn't really look that great. But finally sat down and watched it, and yeah, it's one of the, it's great. So
yeah, and I know you don't really like horror stuff, Trent, but I mean it has horror elements, but that's not like the main focus of it. So I think you'll still enjoy it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. There was a funny intersection between esports and Super Bowl from last night. A bunch of I tried to find the article because I saw it on Facebook earlier today. I don't remember if it was like PC Gamer or Gamenesia or something like that. They posted this article about a bunch of esports like organizers who were criticizing the Super Bowl for their crazy, outdated overtime rules, and how you can basically win the game with a coin toss and a diesel drive.
Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous.
I think just the coin toss in general is just still so funny to me how that's still a rule. In like the modern day. I was watching now for those of you that don't know, I'm not into sports like at all, but I still find, some of it interesting. I saw some of that new ESPN 30 for 30 that was about the XFL. And I didn't even realize, it's probably just the fact I forgot, but in the XFL, they used to have two rival teammates charge each other for the ball. Like they would lay the ball in the middle of the field and then two teammates would just run and whoever got it, like that was their coin toss. And they said people loved it, but so many players were injured.
I was about to say, that sounds so dangerous.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh man, that's way more entertaining than a coin toss.
That's like a football version of like the jump ball from basketball. Like
yeah, exactly.
Hilarious.
But most basketball players aren't known for concussions and
They should pull out an N64 and put Mario Party 1 on there and play one of those mini games where you have to spin the controller stick as fast as you can. That gave kids blisters.
They just need to play a game of NFL Blitz during halftime.
There you go.
And then whoever wins, if there's an overtime, they get to have the ball first.
Quick Mario Party side note. Do you remember when Nintendo released those gloves? Like you can mail in for gloves.
Yep.
People were tearing their hands open.
Yeah, because you would palm the stick and spin it around, and I remember seeing that like in Nintendo Power and just laughing like, "Oh, come on, that's terrible." Shortly after that, I did tear a hole in the palm of my hand, and now I regret not sending away for those gloves. Supposedly, those gloves are actually valuable nowadays because I don't know if many people actually send away for them.
See, I don't know if I was weird or not, but it ended up working. But I actually, my three fingers, my thumb, my pointer finger, my middle finger, and I would actually grab the stick just with those three fingers, and I would like rotate my fingers around, but then rotate the actual. I would hold the controller from underneath, and I would rotate it the opposite way. And I was so much better at that than everybody else. So I was like, "Oh, you noobs using the palm technique, going so slow and ripping your hands open. This is the master three-finger race over here."
Yeah. And then none of the Mario Party games after that had the spinning control stick games. I think that's why on like Wii and Wii U they released Mario Party 2 on the Virtual Console and just completely bypassed 1.
Yeah.
So.
Well, 2 is the best Mario Party, so
it is a good one.
We've now gone to the rabbit hole of comparing the palm technique to the three finger. And hopefully no one's
only on the Brief Nerdity podcast. What's your Mario Party 1 technique? Leave a comment in the YouTube comments.
What are we talking about? No, I'm just kidding.
Ryan, you sent away for your little fingertip covers.
Oh yeah,
little cloth thimbles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's jump to something not Nintendo. So Ryan and I are huge Bioware super fans. I love Mass Effect. I love Dragon Age. They are announcing a new IP. You guys heard about this?
I have.
Yes, not the details though.
So they're saying it's going to be out by March of next year. Their main studio is producing it, right? Am I correct on this?
Yep. I could go into a little bit more details if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
So and this is the Edmonton team, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada team. They're the team who created Knights of the Old Republic and the Mass Effect trilogy. And right after the Mass Effect trilogy was finished, they passed the Mass Effect franchise onto, I believe, the Ontario team. Who were responsible for a lot of the Mass Effect 2 and 3 DLCs, like Lair of the Shadow Broker and the Citadel DLC and stuff like that. But they passed on the reins of the Mass Effect franchise to them, while they internally at the Edmonton office started working on a brand new IP. And they've been working on it since 2012, and so it'll be about 5 to 6 years by the time it finally comes out. And so EA said on the earnings call this past week that by the end of the next fiscal year that game will have launched, and the end of EA's fiscal year is the end of March. So we'll have a brand new Bioware IP in the next year or so.
That's awesome. Good timing too, because Mass Effect is March, right? End of March.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, be about a year between Mass Effect's release and this new IP's release.
Yeah, probably get a little teaser or something at E3.
And people are probably thinking that from now on, Bioware is going to switch off every 3 years. They're going to do new IP, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, new IP, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and just kind of do one a year from there on out.
Rumor is that Bioware was awarded a Star Wars project.
I forgot about that. So
is it something completely different in that?
I think so, because I don't think they would consider Star Wars a new IP, and since they've been doing it since 2012, which is before EA got the license to Star Wars.
That's true.
I would imagine that the Star Wars game is being done by the Old Republic office, which is in Austin, Texas. Would be my theory, but I have no idea.
It's a lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah, I love BioWare. But we know next to nothing about this new IP. But from the sounds of it, it's going to be very Division/Destiny-ish, kind of an action RPG online that you play with friends. That's they didn't really give any details at all. We have no idea if it's going to be sci-fi, medieval, modern day, something else. But it did sound like they use words like revolutionize action gameplay with your friends or something like that. And you can't have Bioware without good storytelling and RPG mechanics. So, yeah, either way, I'm excited. I am excited.
I think you're very exciting.
Thank you, TJ.
So, yeah, I mean, so obviously they have a very big fantasy franchise in Dragon Age. They have a big sci-fi franchise in Mass Effect. Do you think that this third one would be something different, like modern or like historical, or do you think it would be maybe just like a different type of one of the other two?
I mean, it could go either way. I mean, BioWare has found their most success in sci-fi in Mass Effect and Knights of the Old Republic.
Very true.
And so, and you know, Destiny has kind of shown that the sci-fi setting is good for that kind of online shooter kind of action game sort of thing, which we assume it is. So honestly, it could go either way. I'd say it's equal possibility. It could be sci-fi versus anything else.
Nice.
Well, we will
Sci-fi's
probably
a good
find out
setting.
soon enough.
I would imagine E3, because at that point Mass Effect will have been out for about 2.5 months, and so people who would have played it already, and are kind of asking, what's the next BioWare game at that point.
Yeah. So they also, in that same phone call to the EA, that's a third quarter earnings call with investors, they also gave a window for the release of Battlefront 2, which is holiday 2017. Are you excited about that?
Very excited, especially because of the news that accompanied it.
Which was?
It's going to cover multiple eras.
Woo!
Yeah, that's right.
We can find Camino again.
And a single-player campaign too, right?
And a single-player campaign, yep. So
very nice. So everything that the players said they wanted the first time around with Battlefront.
Yep.
And that they didn't give them.
Which, it kind of sucks, but I still love Battlefront for what it was. It wasn't, thinking back, it wasn't a fantastic game, but I still think it was a valiant effort based on the time frame EA had to deliver.
Oh yeah, I mean,
they got the license to the time Episode 7 came out.
Yeah, I am terrible at first-person shooters, and I love that game just because I run around and feel like I'm in Star Wars.
Yeah,
because it's so realistic.
Oh yeah.
So the new one can only be better.
Exactly. And as much as people hate on the prequel trilogy, I would love to have a Clone Wars era battle with maybe Ahsoka Tano as one of the heroes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, stuff like that. Or, I don't know if they're going to go quite into the new trilogy era yet, or if they're going to save that for Battlefront 3 when Episode 9 comes out, so they could totally flesh out all the story around that era.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would do new. I mean, they may do like what they did with Jakku, do some kind of DLC thing for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would dig into it with the main game.
Or maybe keep it new era, but like keep it strictly to like Episode 7 stuff, even if Episode 8 is coming out around that same time. Keep
That's
it
true.
on Starkiller Base and
Takodana.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
I just want to fly in a Boo Starfighter. That's all I ask for, even if it doesn't fit with anything else in the game. Even if there's nothing else from Episode 1. That's all I want.
This is pod racing.
There's two things I would really, really like, both involving vehicles. One, I hope vehicles aren't tokens you pick up. I hope they're actually like parked and you could get on them and fly away like the original 2 Battlefront games.
I hate those freaking tokens.
And one thing I really, really loved, and this the Death Star DLC for Battlefront. Did you end up playing it, TJ?
No, I have not.
I know Trent did because I played it with you, but that mode alone was like, it made Battlefront like that.
It was really, really fun.
Oh yeah,
that DLC alone is worth the price of admission in my book, because the battle is in 3 tiers. First, it starts off to where it kind of takes the events of A New Hope and condenses them down into like one battle. That's definitely not canon, but the story is that like this group of Rogue Squadron is trying to rescue R2-D2 from the Death Star. So first you have to battle a Star Destroyer to get to the Death Star. So it's an all space battles is the wave 1, and so just all-out space battle, which is awesome, and the Imperials are trying to defend the Star Destroyer, and the Rebels are naturally trying to take it down. And so there's little waves, and like they send in waves of Y-wings to try to take down the shields, and once the shields are down, stuff like that. But either way, if the Empire wins at that point, and there's a timer, they have to kill the Star Destroyer at a certain amount of time. If they do it, then the Empire just wins, game over right there. But if the Rebels succeed, it goes on to Wave 2, which is an on-foot battle on the Death Star, to where one side of the map R2 starts, and that's where the Empire spawns, and the Rebels spawn on the other part. It's basically a capture the flag game where a player gets to R2, and then they push X or whatever on their keyboard, and then they become R2, and they're like driving R2, trying to get him. It's like a capture the flag, but where you become the flag, so to speak. And you have like a little shock move and everything. And
That's great.
So you're trying to drive R2 back to like where one of the X-wings are, because he has the plans for the Death Star on him. And again, if the Empire succeeds in defending for a certain amount of time, then they win. But if the Rebels successfully get R2 back to the Rebel ships, then phase 3 of the battle starts, and that's the actual Death Star trench run, to where I think 2 or 3 of the Rebels get selected as the special trench run fighters, to where they go into the trench, and it's like a little checkpoint system where you can't just like go straight to like where the thermal exhaust port is to go in, and you have to hit each checkpoint. And so like you have the rebel ship X-wings going in, and then the TIE fighters these are the rebel ships that you have to destroy, and then if the rebels make it all the way to the end and shoot that proton torpedo, they win. But if the Empire stops them, they don't win. So
man,
it's a phenomenal like multi-tiered battle, and like if it goes on for all 3 waves, the whole match could be like 20 minutes long or longer.
It's really fun.
It's really, really, really well done. And
I'll have to check that out.
I have a lot of complaints with just the Battlefront gameplay as a whole, but that mode is like, if they have several modes like that in Battlefront 2, it'll be a masterpiece, because that mode is so much fun.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely have to look into that. I don't know how I missed that.
So I kind of went off on a little rave there, so I'll be quiet for a little while.
That's good. Alrighty, so in movie news, do you guys like Avatar? Not the Airbender movie, but the Blue Dances with Wolves, Ferngully.
Smurfs for adults.
Yes.
Yeah. I dislike all Avatar movies.
I liked the 3D thing. Like, it was the first time I saw a 3D movie, and it was probably the only one I've ever liked. I thought the story was decent-ish.
Pocahontas. I remember when it came out, I did enjoy it. Like, I was a fan. I wasn't a mega fan. A confession I do have, though, I really enjoyed the Avatar game on Xbox 360. Pretty sure I 100%ed it.
We all have games like that. I totally 100% the Kung Fu Panda game.
I did not even know that was a game.
Yep.
It shouldn't surprise me. So the news is from this week that James Cameron has said that he is done writing the scripts for not only Avatar 2, but Avatar 3, 4, and 5.
Oh,
this is the thing.
Question mark?
This is the thing that's happening.
Five-atar.
Five-atar.
I
think we just found the name of our podcast this week.
There we go.
Yeah, so apparently James Cameron is of the opinion that Avatar needs the Lord of the Rings treatment times 5.
Yeah.
He's gonna. They're talking about shooting them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then releasing, I'm assuming, annually, like Lord of the Rings did and The Hobbit did.
Yeah, in Christmas time, competing with Star Wars.
I think you should break them apart even more and release them daily.
Just 5 minutes sections.
I think they don't need to be made, personally, but
yeah, so
like he is not going to be doing anything else other than these movies. He has said. What do you guys? I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, to kind of back up a little bit, I mean, I didn't see the first Avatar movie until maybe 3 weeks into its theater run, and by then everyone was talking about it, and so I kind of went in like expecting like to be blown away, but I wasn't, and so I think that kind of had a negative effect to the movie on me. I thought the 3D was neat, but obviously story content was not there, and then I became one of those people that as the movie like got more and more popular, and then became the #1 movie of all time, I just kind of became bitter toward it because there's so many more movies that deserve that title than Avatar. And so I'm to the camp where I do not like the movie. and I probably will not be seeing these in theaters. And just kind of back to where your point there, I think the statute of limitation is passed for like an Avatar sequel because I don't think anybody wants it, and we're all 3D fatigued. That I don't think that I think anyone who or a lot of people who go see this movie will probably see it in 3D because they know it'll be good, but like it's not going to be a driver to go see it anymore because we're also fatigued of 3D, at this point.
Yeah. I remember being really skeptical about 3D in general, and most of my assumed complaints ended up being real. Like I don't think the glasses are comfortable. I think it distorts the color. I don't like
It's darker.
It is darker.
It's definitely darker.
And like movie theaters are already warm anyway, and so like every other movie I've seen with 3D, like the glasses start fogging up, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
This is why I don't wear glasses in the first place. But
you're just so hot, Trent.
I know, right? But it's like I actually, even though all of that was true, like the 3D aspect and the way that the first one was filmed did actually blow me away. But it's like you said, like I don't know that I could have that experience again, especially not 4 more times.
Well, now, okay, so let's look at it this way. What if he just said he was working on the next Avatar movie? What if he didn't talk about, 4 sequels, he just talked about 1? Would you feel any differently about it then?
Yes, I think it would be less ridiculous.
Yeah, that's 4. 4 is a lot. It really is. And I have a feeling he has some sort of new technology, kind of like with Avatar, where that was like the big draw of the movie. And not only the 3D, but just this technology of, CG, crossed with, live action.
And giant knives.
Yeah, and it did look really good. It just looked very clean. But I really think like maybe that's why he's waiting, because that's why he waited as long as he did to make the first one. He waited for the technology to catch up with his, his vision. But I think that's what he's going to need. I don't think he can just do Avatar, an even better looking Avatar for the next movie, and that be enough for people to really jump back in.
Yeah, I mean, motion capture itself has come a long way since the first Avatar, and if they do some kind of motion capture breakthrough where the characters are just unbelievably realistic looking, that could be pretty cool. But I don't know. Yeah, just like Ryan says, I mean, it could be a sequel that we didn't expect that ends up being fun, but no one's asking for it that I know of.
I mean, the concern is that pretty much everybody's reaction online is like, really? Like, right. No, like there's very little excitement for this movie. And so I think, he's betting a lot with making 4 movies at one time, thinking that people are going to have the stamina and will to sit through 4 Avatar sequels.
Yeah, what kind of budget is this thing going to have? I mean,
I'd say $1 billion or more.
Yeah,
it has to be $1 billion or higher.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I really think it's the 4. It's the announcement of 4 sequels, and especially him saying they're already written and they're going to film, back to back. Like, that's he's pretty cocky. I mean, maybe they'll be great. Who knows? I try and be optimistic, but man,
to be fair, how many unsuccessful blockbuster attempts has James Cameron had? I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is Transformers, and those were all successful.
He didn't do Transformers.
Huh?
He didn't do Transformers. Michael Bay did.
What?
Yep.
I'm an idiot.
Need for Speed movie, everybody.
Yeah, he did do Need for Speed, though. That's right.
Speed movie, yeah.
What was his last? Was Avatar's last movie?
Avatar was his last movie, and his movie before that was Titanic.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Has he produced some stuff though?
Probably. Let me look. I'm on IMDb right now. So,
not
really.
Let's see. I gotta go look him up now.
He also he did have good words to say about that last Terminator movie though, and that's the only reason I saw it. Well, I didn't go see it in the theater. I waited to rent it, but that's the only reason I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance. If James Cameron gives it the okay, and no, I thought it was awful.
I liked the new Terminator movie. It wasn't great, but it was fun.
Was that the one with Khaleesi in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Terminator 2 is like one of my favorite movies of all time. So.
And that could never be beat, but I just didn't like. I didn't like the fact that John Connor was a villain and the way they made him the villain was dumb. But the rest of it was fun. I thought much better than Terminator Salvation. I think if you just go in and I don't know, I kind of just turned my brain off and I didn't try to
Well,
compare
no,
it to
yeah,
Terminator
and
2, and I ended up really enjoying it.
that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, so it seems like
Oh, yeah.
no, he didn't really do anything after Titanic. It credits him for some documentaries, but no, he did Titanic. He did the Terminator 2 3D ride at Universal, True Lies, Terminator 2, The Abyss, Aliens, Terminator.
Wow. I
So
can't believe I confused him with Michael Bay. I fail at life. You take my movie nerd card away from me.
I don't know, but George Lucas had a 100% track record before the prequels too. So
Ooh.
I just don't know why he had to come out and say he's doing 4 movies. Why?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the best artists are eccentric, so I mean, maybe we should just see what happens.
yeah, I mean, I think the best thing he has going for him is Disney, because Disney World is setting up a whole Avatar section
That's true.
in
That's
Animal
a very
Kingdom.
good point.
So he's going to have the marketing, and so the movie's going to be successful. Period.
They're betting so much money on this.
Yeah, I mean,
so much money.
what does Disney have to do with any other movie besides Disney movies? In Disney World, but no, they chose Avatar.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know they're building a Star Wars thing as well, but you have the biggest movie empire in the world, at least some of the most successful IPs, and you're just, I don't know. I mean, they're probably smarter than I am, I guess. Maybe they see something I don't. But
Yeah, they're betting a lot.
Yeah. Granted, I can't even fathom the amount of money that Disney must have at this point. So
Yeah.
So the movie's going to be successful regardless.
They could probably tank, and they'd be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Scrap this
and
new
it's just
amusement park.
It's the fact that just 4 is such a weird number when it comes to movies in a series. Like, why 4? If he said he was doing a
total,
well,
which is a nice round number.
I mean, if he said we're doing a new trilogy,
right? How many installments have 5?
Well, let's see. There's Fast and the Furious.
Well, but they went further.
Fast, Too Furious, Faster Than Furious.
I'm not just 5. Like,
I'm Fast, You're Furious.
We So Fast, So Furious.
Tokyo in the Jungle. Ready to Rumble. Yeah, there were a lot.
But I'm trying to think of like any film franchise that just has 5 movies.
The Hobbit almost did.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure he would have made it 5 if he could have.
But I think he did it the right way. He had 2 sets of really successful trilogies.
Yeah. I still think The Hobbit should have been 2 movies, though. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that is a whole nother topic. Yeah. I thought it was great the way it was.
I guess all we could do at this point is wait and see. I mean, yeah, we do have to look, beyond just the announcement of the movies. But yeah, that Disney is, betting this much money on him. He's this confident to come out and say the scripts are done. I'm filming all of these, back to back. Like, there's got to be a lot more to it than what we know. So yeah. I have a feeling a new tech has a lot to do with it, and they just haven't announced it yet.
Let's see. So far, there is 5 Mission Impossible movies. There are 5 Bourne movies.
You had to prove me wrong.
Yep.
But even with those though, they release one and they're like, oh, that did well. Let's make another one. Okay, this one did well. Let's make another one. Not okay. This movie did well. Let's make 4.
True that. Also, 5 Die Hard movies.
Yeah. I guess Star Wars did just announce all at once, like, we're making a movie a year for the next 6 years. So it's not completely different, I guess.
Ooh, there's 5 Garfield movies.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Are there really?
Yep. Stop. Garfield the movie, A Tale of Two Kitties, Stop. Garfield Gets Real, Garfield's Fun Fest, and Garfield's Pet Force.
Wait, Garfield Gets Real?
Yeah, 2007.
I don't believe you. Garfield Gets Real.
I am sending you the link.
Stop. I'm changing subjects now. I'm pulling my host veto card. How about that Beauty and the Beast trailer?
Oh, that Beauty and the Beast trailer. OMG.
I'm actually super excited about it.
I am over the top excited for that.
Yes.
Beauty and the Beast is by far my favorite, like, Disney quote unquote classic. The definitely in the golden age of Disney, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Belle has always been my favorite Disney princess because she's smart and brunette and awesome, and I love Emma Watson. So
Yes.
like,
I was really worried for a while. She was saying she wasn't going to be pursuing any movies, and then like it just kind of indefinitely. She didn't know if she was ever going to get back into acting when
mhm.
she was doing her education. I'm so glad that she decided to keep making movies.
Yeah. So this movie has everything I could possibly want in like a Disney movie, and so
And the
I
casting for
love it.
Gaston is perfect.
I thought they could have gone with someone a little
See,
bit bigger.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe a little
Ah.
younger too.
He's a
No,
little bit
I mean,
small. I mean, he has the charisma down in the trailer so far,
and that's the
but
important part. I mean, like Gaston is cartoonishly large. I mean, to get anything bigger, you'd have to get a bodybuilder, and then they wouldn't be able to act.
Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy does fantastic.
Uh, yeah,
He is nailing that role, especially from the
But-
Guardians 2 trailers.
but that's not Gaston though, and he had like what 5 lines in the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah. But, they could find someone to do well, I think.
I don't know. I think
Or at least pump him full of steroids before filming.
Ugh, no, it's so unhealthy. But no, like he's got the attitude perfect. He's got the mannerisms down. Like you already just in the little tiny bits from the trailer, you already want to hate him. I'm excited.
Well, I think we can all agree that it's a shame that Josh Gad is in it, though.
It's a shame that he is.
Yeah, am I alone in this?
You don't like Josh Gad?
Josh Gad is probably my number one most disliked celebrity.
That's a
Sorry.
hot take right there.
I'm sorry.
So, any particular project that turned you off, or you just have never seen anything you like?
I think it's just him in general. He feels like samey in all of his movies. Like, I mean, he did a great job, as Olaf in Frozen, but then, in all of his movies, I don't know, just I don't know. I don't even want to talk about that. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I think back to Pixels too, and yes, I saw Pixels. Yeah, just not for me.
I love the Book of Mormon musical, though, so I'll love him forever.
Book of Mormon was great, but when I saw it, he was not in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one I saw, he wasn't in it either.
Me neither, but
I saw the guy from Pitch Perfect was in it when I saw it.
The which guy?
The magician.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was really good.
I bet he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I don't know. I think this guy, he looks the part. I don't even know the character's name. Gaston's lackey.
but it doesn't have biceps to spare. Oh, Gaston. Gotcha.
Josh Gad.
Yeah, gotcha. Sorry.
Anyway,
Some parts of him are scraggly and scrawny.
Okay, but moving on. See what Josh Gad does to a podcast.
I never thought I would ever be arguing over the casting of Gaston ever in my life. Like, we're gonna put that in the unexpected category forever.
I guess, in all fairness, I don't think we've seen enough of his Gaston, because, like you said, they've only had the little clips. But
Yeah.
no.
And like I said, I think the character-wise and the acting-wise, he's going to nail it. I have 100% confidence in him. I was just like, oh, he's not as large as I thought he would be. But all right.
Morning to help me get large.
Like, I think the guy who plays Gaston at Disney World who like did that push-up contest is like bigger.
Yeah, but they can't cast that guy to play Gaston. And
No, I'm
I'm
just
willing
kidding.
to bet that his costume is probably a little padded.
Oh yeah, true. But have you seen that video? It's pretty glorious.
No, but I'm sure it's cute.
Anywho, we can move on. I'm done.
So yeah, we'll move on. TJ wanted to ask us about a show that he's been watching.
Movie.
Well, not a show. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie Split. Have either of you seen it?
Nope.
Is this one that has Xavier in it?
Yes.
The new Xavier?
So here's the thing. This is why I wanted to talk about it, even though you guys haven't seen it. Have you seen M. Night Shyamalan's previous works?
Some of
I
them?
pretty much stopped after Village, and I was like, I'm done. For a
Okay.
long. I
I saw
technically
the
saw the last
Village.
Airbender movie, so there's that. But
I saw The Village, and I've seen he did Sixth Sense, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I feel like I have to question every movie thing I think I know.
he also directed Fast and the Furious 2014.
Shut up.
Or sorry, Need for Speed.
So, because here's the thing, I'm a fan of his older work, but yeah, right around The Village, that's when I started going, oh, okay, I don't know if I like where this guy's going anymore. And then, sure enough, the movies after that was never really a big fan. So, Split was coming out, everyone was making a big deal about it. I decided, okay, I don't want to see this. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I'm just going to look up and see what the spoilers, what the twist is, because you know that almost all of his movies have a twist.
Oh wow.
So I looked it up, and I said, huh, well, now that I know it, now I want to see this movie because it was an interesting twist, something I've never really seen done before. So I saw it, and when the moment happens, I wish I went into the movie without knowing it. But the predicament is I wouldn't have seen the movie unless I looked up the spoiler. But now, looking back on it, if I would have just somehow seen it without knowing what the twist at the end was going to be, I would have been very, very happy.
So do you think it's worth for us to go see in theaters, or is it a wait on video?
Well, how much should I say? I won't spoil anything directly, but how much should I say in order to answer that question?
I would just say, to answer it, is a movie that is worth paying to see to ensure I see it as early as possible as to not be spoiled? Or is it one just, it's so good I need to see it as soon as possible? Or is it a spectacle worth seeing in the theater? If not, is it okay waiting the 3 months or so it takes for movies to come on video nowadays?
Okay, got it. So the movie itself, it's not a bad movie. I don't think it's great, but what it's doing though, like where it's going, I think you kind of need to see it. So I guess all that I'll say is it ties into one of his older movies. That's the twist. I won't say which one though. And I would say probably see it sooner than later because a lot more interviews are coming out now, and the movie it ties into is kind of showing up a lot more. So I would say if that statement alone interests you, then I would see it as soon as possible.
Crap.
I might see it on a $5 Tuesday.
Well, how do you know if you've seen the? Like, I'm gonna go watch every M. Night Shyamalan movie before I go see this movie.
Well, I don't know how much more you want me to say.
No,
I imagine it'd be one of his original ones,
it's
like
one of-
Unbreakable, Sixth
Yes,
Sense.
it's one of the originals. I'll say one of his first 4 major movies. That's as far as I'll go.
Okay.
It's probably
That's-
Unbreakable.
And I think all 4 of those are worth
Now is it
seeing anyways.
is it like a thriller type movie, or is
It's-
it like scary?
It's a thriller. I guess it has some horror elements, but yeah, it's mostly a thriller.
Huh.
And I'm not crazy about everything in the movie, but just knowing where it's going makes it worth seeing.
Well, I won't be seeing it this week because you know what I'm seeing?
Lego
Sing.
Batman.
Hold for effect. Lego Batman.
First try. Oh!
You both are beautiful and I love you.
That looks good.
I have my tickets already. It has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes as of this recording. It's going to be great.
Actually,
go on.
I just loaded
Go
the
on,
page and it's 98%.
Ooh, it went up.
It's gone up.
I just love. I don't know too much about it. I don't want to read any of the reviews. Like the scores are fine, but I don't want to read any of the details about the reviews. But from what I know, I just love the premise that it focuses on how Batman is all alone. He's just a lonely guy, and the comedy plays off that. And he accidentally adopts Robin. And then that's another thing he has to deal with, and just the
Joker
overall
is like sad that he's not like exclusive to Batman.
Yeah, just knowing those details and the fact that they said it references pretty much every Batman movie, comic, show, you name it, it's in there. That's got me excited.
Kevin Conroy better make some kind of appearance.
Oh, he better.
He is Batman.
Yeah. But no, I'm very excited for it though. I can't believe it's already here this week.
Yeah, no, when they first showed the first trailer last year, it was like a year away. Like I'm pretty sure they showed it like early 2016 was the first trailer for it. And I was like, 2017, you kidding me?
This is so far away.
Yeah. And like you, Ryan, I love the Lego movie. Like absolutely love it. And then when they announced that the next Lego movie was going to be Lego Batman, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, all right. Well, I kind of wanted another Lego movie, but after seeing everything they've shown so far, I'm like, okay, I'm totally fine with this.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Love it.
hope that I just want them to take this franchise and run with it. I'll watch anything they make for at least a little while anyway.
Well, and when they're making a better Batman movie out of Legos than out of real people,
Too soon.
And the
then
fact that like the Lego movie, it looks so good. That animation, you cannot tell the CG apart from the real like stop motion and all that. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Probably the best animation, I would say, in any movie, hands down.
and the first movie really like tugged the heartstrings as well. Like you wouldn't think a movie would be that funny and that emotionally impactful at the same time. It was just
Yeah.
it was a masterpiece in filmmaking, in my opinion. Deserving of all the
Agreed.
awards.
Wonder if the kid and the dad are gonna show up again at the end.
It's just that ending again.
Yeah, same thing.
No, the Kevin Conroy Batman doesn't go with the Adam West Batman, little Timmy. Gosh.
Ruining everything.
Ryan, are you the dad in it? Is that the big reveal?
I am very instruction following when it comes to my Legos.
Yeah. I just love how everyone I know that saw the Lego movie said, "Oh, that's going to be you with your kid." Yeah, like
I
everyone.
can see that. I can totally see that.
Yeah, I have a nerdy friend at work who collects all the Star Wars Lego sets, which are not an inexpensive investment to make. And he has a bunch of them displayed in his cube, and it's just like he'll show them off really proudly, but then like when reaches towards him, like no, don't touch.
I cringe every time I see the new Spider-Man Homecoming trailer when his friend drops that Lego Death Star.
I know.
I cringe every time I see that in the trailer. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I heard inside. Like that's so many hours of work.
Yeah.
So, good
So
stuff.
I bought a PS4 Pro this week, guys.
Whoa.
I'm now pro at the PlayStation gaming.
That really surprised me.
You're so pro.
Well, I managed to get it on a good sale, and then I have a friend buying my original PS4, so it was just a modest upgrade fee, but not bad. So I'm excited to play games like The Last Guardian, and Final Fantasy 15 was just announced this week to get a patch at the end of the month to make it 60 frames on the PS4 Pro. So I'm excited about that. I love me my 60 frames. So, oh, that's right. So talk to me a little bit about The Last Guardian, TJ. Spoiler free. But as
yes.
someone who just played Eco and Shadow of the Colossus for the very first time this past year and loved both of them.
Oh, really? You just played them for the first time?
Oh yeah, you didn't get that? Yeah, like I miss them. I mean, I knew of them, both of them when they came out, and they're kind of like they're on my list for a very, very long time, but just other things came up and I never really got around to them until like all the hype for Last Guardian finally coming out kind of got the better in me, and that's why I owned the copy of the PS3 remastered versions, so I put them in and played through them both, and both of them made my top 10 games of 2016 list I played.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I saw the top 10, but yeah, I didn't realize. I guess that does make sense if they made your top 10 list of games.
I mean, I was blown away by both of them. Just to give you a little bit of thoughts before we go on, but like Eco, just the fact that there was no health bars, the only combat was you like hitting guys with the stick, trying to keep them away, because the only way to lose the game is if you lost, that princess or whatever she was, and then like that final boss fight was amazing and everything like that, and then Eco was just amazing. Then Shadow of the Colossus just upped the ante, like just oh my gosh, just every boss fight and the mechanics behind it, and how it's pretty much an entire like Zelda dungeon in a single boss fight. Trying to take this thing down, and I mean, beautiful game.
They did a great job with the HD remaster, but just imagine playing that game like when it came out. Like that's when I played it. I played it when it came out. I didn't even own a PS2, but my buddy bought it, and we played through the whole game together. And it was like there was nothing else like it at the time. And even like 10 or some odd years later, there's still not really anything quite like it.
I mean, it speaks a lot to the game that I played it, 11 years later, and I was still just like, this is amazing. Like, this is hardcore amazing. I mean, obviously I can see some of the flaws in game design from, but I say flaws with double quotes there, because I mean, I was wowed by the games, and that's saying a lot playing it for the first time in 2016 when it came out 11 years earlier. Or
that's great.
15 years earlier in Eco's case. So
Well, I mean, I could say right off the bat, if you feel that way, like I know you'll absolutely love Last Guardian. I know it got a lot of like flack for the controls, but I always made the serious joke, I guess, that I think the people complaining about the controls didn't beat Shadow of the Colossus because that doesn't have the best control system, but you get used to it though. And just the what's going on in the game, just like the overall goal, like it pushes you forward and it kind of helps you put up with the controls to the point where then they just become natural. Like you're no longer thinking about, man, these controls are kind of weird. And that's how Last Guardian is. The story and stuff is incredible, especially the end of the game. For someone that had a pet for 15 years, I had a dog, Wrigley, for 15 years. It was like my best friend. Just being able to relate Trico to that, I think it's the best I've ever seen of like a pet character, like a non-playable pet character in a game. They really nailed that. Like it really feels like you have a giant like puppy or a cat or
Better
like
than the
kitten.
Peter Molyneux dog from Fable 2.
Yes, better than the Fable 2 dog. But no, it really is great. It's actually one of the few games nowadays where I played through it again right after I beat it. Like I just went
Oh,
right
nice.
into it because the way it works, there's some like hidden collectibles in the game. It's like these barrels. It doesn't really spoil anything. It's these like glowing barrels you'll come across and you feed them to Trico. And that's how you unlock different costumes. And those barrels carry over to the next playthrough. So I didn't get enough to get like the final costume. So I started another playthrough. And I was just planning on playing just enough to get that and unlock the last costume. But I just kept going and I loved it even more the second time. It's great. I mean, if you love those other games, you'll love this. No doubt about it.
I keep hearing Trico, and I keep thinking of the Pokemon. So I'm like,
Nerd.
you have a Pokemon following you around? That sounds great.
It is kind of a giant Pokemon. So.
Yeah, it kind of is. But no,
Yeah,
it's
I actually have. Unfortunately, I've never played any of those games because I've never had a PlayStation.
yeah, there's something. They're very unique.
Very good.
I've seen a lot of the gameplay footage from them, and it looks really, really cool.
And the soundtrack to both, but especially Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, once
Just
you're fighting a boss and you get the leg up on it and that music kicks in.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I got goosebumps right now just talking about it just from that moment.
Ori and the Blind Forest level soundtrack?
Yeah, or better.
Wow.
I mean,
that's high praise.
Yeah, it's like I immediately like put it on my Spotify playlist and listened to it a bunch after I beat the game. So
Awesome.
I will say this though, one weird thing, as far as the controls go, to answer your question that you had, like off the podcast about playing it on a PS4 Pro versus not, I don't have a PS4 Pro. Played through it, both times on that. Ran fine, stuttered a little bit at times, but never to the point where I was like, okay, this is broken. Played fine. Controls, played through with no issues the first time. There's one part in the game, I won't say anything about it, but when I got to it the second playthrough, it gave me a ton of trouble. I could not get Trico to do what he was supposed to do, even though I knew exactly what he was supposed to do. And I was on that part for like a good half hour, 40 minutes when it should have only taken a few minutes. So I don't know if maybe I just got lucky the first time and maybe, other players that were complaining about the controls just unfortunately experienced those problems on their first playthrough. But I just found that kind of weird that the second playthrough was when I had that, that moment of trouble. But overall, still, it did not ruin the game for me. Loved it. One of my favorite games of last year.
Person, I've always been this way where I want to play the game in the best possible way I can play it. I mean, even back in 2007, I bought Mass Effect and Bioshock back in 2007, and I kind of like started them a little bit, but I didn't like. I got like maybe like 30 minutes to stop because everyone had online. Like everyone online was basically saying like, this is the game you need to get an HD TV for, because back in 2007, even though the Xbox 360 and PS3 were HD compatible, HD TVs weren't as prevalent yet. And so like I was still playing on an old CRT TV and trying to play Mass Effect and choosing the dialogue options, you could barely read them and things like that. And then just Bioshock at the time just looked so gorgeous. I was like, I need to save an experience like this for when I get an HD TV. And I got one shortly after, thankfully. And so And so that's I kind of weighed off for those, and kind of the same thing here. Like obviously I could have played Last Guardian on my normal PlayStation, but I had heard that from some people, and it may not be affected for everyone, but that it had some performance issues on the normal Remedy with the Pro. And so I was like, well, just in case. I know I'm getting a Pro here soon, and I was back toward the end of last year, so I was like, I'll just hold off for now, and I'll still probably hold off for a little bit because right now I'm actually I'm trying to make it through the Mass Effect trilogy. I just finished Mass Effect 2 again, and like I've said before, I'm trying to record it all, and so I record it and I like edit the footage and then try to render it and everything like that, and I'm trying to finish that before Zelda, because definitely once Zelda comes out, like the month of March is gone, because I'm going to be playing Zelda for the first few weeks, and after that is Mass Effect, and so finish anything I want to finish before March, or else it's not going to get done. So
Well, see, that leads us to a problem. Horizon comes out 3 days before Zelda.
sorry, Horizon, you're getting pushed to April for me.
Yeah, I am making the same decision. I was really excited for Horizon. I mean, I still am, but I mean, Zelda obviously takes precedence over that. So yeah, I'm not going to try and cram that game into a couple days. I'm just going to hold off.
What'd you say, Trent?
You guys talking about Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks really fun too.
Looks way good. So
I keep thinking I need to buy a PlayStation, but then it's like I also need to buy a Switch, and I need to go to Celebration in April. And I'm like,
so many things.
Celebration Station?
No, Ryan and I are both going this year to the Star Wars Celebration.
Star Wars Celebration. No, I know.
Derp, derp, derp.
It'll be fun.
So yeah, I think March for me is pretty much just going to be Mass Effect, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to secure a pre-order for a Switch at this point, but we'll see what happens.
And then April is going to be stacked, because of just backlog, but already we know of the new Shovel Knight DLC is coming out in April. Yooka-Laylee is coming out.
Oh wow!
April. Yep.
Is that coming out for PC? Please say yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I got the Steam version when I backed it on Kickstarter. So
nice.
Yeah, because that gives you access to the toy box too now, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I paid for the basic $15, just get the Steam version and my name in the credits.
Oh yeah, because all the people that pre-order it, like even on the consoles, if you pre-order it, you get the free download of the toy box now, where you can like play through some of the stuff just to see how it feels and everything. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's on PC also.
Okay.
You probably have access to it and don't realize it.
Yeah, possibly.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I hear the rumors is when the Stardew Valley co-op comes out.
Oh, crap.
At that point too. And then, like I said, just like my backlog, because like I now have, like I said, Last Guardian to play. Final Fantasy 15 is probably going to be the time I'm going to want to play that. I just bought Catherine. It was on sale for $3 for Xbox 360. I never played it, but that's another game that everyone talks about. Like, you need to play Catherine for Xbox 360 PS. Most fun and unique games of last generation.
That game's nuts.
And so I bought it for $3, so I'm going to be wanting to play that. And then I have Watch Dogs 2 to play, Far Cry Primal. I got on a sale. Yeah, it's just, and I still haven't played Recore. I bought it back in like November.
Nice.
Haven't played it either.
So we're coming near the end. We should probably be wrapping up. I have to pitch one show real quick that I think everybody should go watch, and that is The Expanse on Sci-Fi.
I've heard good things.
It's some of the best television I have ever seen. Season 2 just started, so you have time to go back and watch Season 1 and catch up. And it is probably better than Game of Thrones for me right now. I know that's saying a lot for a lot of people, but it's kind of in that really, really early anything could still happen. Because right now I feel like in Game of Thrones we're kind of near the end where you know where it's headed for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, what's the premise of the show? I'm not familiar with it.
So it's a sci-fi show where we have colonized out to the asteroid belt. So it's set in the kind of it's our grandchildren's world, roughly, is what they say in some of the
Mass Effect
interviews
time
that I've seen. Kind of, yeah. So, but it has a lot of very like kind of more realistic grounding for sci-fi stuff. Like, um, Mars has broken away and become an independent nation, apart from Earth, who is now run by the UN. And then there's these people that live on asteroids and in the belt called Belters that are kind of this neutral party that both nations kind of take advantage of. And so there's this kind of Cold War thing brewing between Mars and Earth, and the Belters are kind of in the middle, but then the Belters also have like this kind of terrorist type network thing going on where they're trying to like assert their own independence, because basically at this point a lot of the rare minerals and water is coming from the belt. And so there's really kind of intense political and then there's this kind of very sci-fi stuff going on, like the mystery of the entire first season, which I won't give away, just kind of exploded in a huge way at the beginning of season 2, and it has to do with so like you have this universe set up where there's basically a giant powder keg, and this thing could light it all on fire, and it's really exciting. And so the actors are incredible, the writing is great, the science is phenomenal. Just like the cinematography is incredible, the music's great. It's everything about it's good. You should watch it.
So remind me again in the summer, because right now I'm still struggling just to keep on top of my current shows. Like I watched like one episode of Luke Cage in the past 2 weeks. Because all the current shows are all back on, and so those occupy all my times, and I can't really stop watching a show that I'm currently watching.
That's fair. But if you have time,
but it sounds great, and it sounds like
It is
something I'd really be into. So keep reminding me about it, and I'll put it on my list like in the summer when I'm kind of all caught up.
yeah, I forget the actress's name, but one of the prominent UN characters actually did a voice in Mass Effect of Tally's people. She was one of the judges. She has kind of like that gravelly voice.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. She was in the new Star Trek movie, right?
Was she? Was she the Admiral?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. She is phenomenal in it. She's kind of like this cutthroat political military figure. Anyway, go watch it. It's great.
Nice.
Anything else you guys wanted to talk about or pitch real quick?
Really quick before we go, I wanted to ask TJ about Santa Clarita diet, because I've heard lots of people talking about it, and people are talking about it right now, and you've actually seen it, so I want to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I only saw the first 3 episodes. My wife is really enjoying it. I wasn't planning on continuing after the second one. I don't know, just definitely not for me, I don't think, but it's definitely an interesting premise. Without saying too much, something happens, and Drew Barrymore, her character, and her husband, they're realtors. Something happens to her, which now results in her needing to eat human flesh. So yeah, they live in the suburbs and stuff. So it's just, how are they going to deal with this huge change that has happened to her? I feel like the show, I don't know if it's the direction that I don't like, because the actors, like their delivery on a lot of stuff is kind of weird. Like it almost feels like an NBC sitcom, but then it has like a lot of vulgarity and like really, really a ton of gore. It's very gory. Like I can't believe even by episode 2, like how much gore they actually put in there. And I mean, that's fine. I'm not like against that or anything, but just the way the show plays off as like this sitcom with these added things that aren't normally found in a sitcom, I don't know. It's just not mixing well with me, but it seems to be going in an interesting direction. It's only 10 episodes and they're a half hour, so it's not like a huge time suck or anything. But yeah, I don't know. I might keep watching it. I might finish it just because, it's not that big of an investment, but definitely different. I will give it that. Very different than the other Netflix shows.
Well, you have to let us know once you finish it.
Yeah.
The husband is the guy from Justified.
Yes.
Timothy Oliphant.
Yes. And I will say there are a lot of cameos in that too. Like Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion is in the first episode, I believe. And like Andy Richter. Yeah, a lot of people are in it.
Huh. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. One thing on the 17th of this month, I am going to the Switch event in Chicago, so I will be able to play it.
So in 2 weeks, we'll have you back on to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, like the pictures and videos of the other events that they've had already in the other cities, it looks pretty crazy. They have like big setups and stuff. I went to the Wii U one, however many years ago, and it was like at a nice place, and they just had some TV set up. But they're really going all out with it. So yeah, I will definitely let you guys know what I think.
Nice.
Definitely. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think we'll bring it to a close here. To thank TJ and Ryan for joining me this evening.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No problem.
I want to remind everyone, if you feel so inclined, please go to our iTunes page on iTunes, search for Brief Nerdity, and leave us a review or a comment or both. Go to our website, briefnerdity.com, to see all of our newest content that we put out. And check us out on Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And we'll see you guys again next week for another episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Force be with you. Ha! Added Star Wars to this one. Suckers!
Bye.
I guess I did talk about the Death Star for a while, so there's
And
that.
the Lego Death Star.
And Battlefront 2.
Bye, everybody!
Bye-bye.
Bye.